Good morning. Wow.
Let me tell you the tale of when I climbed Mount Ololokwe, Guinness and goat route. So one day I'm sitting at home, Christmas break, nothing to do, and I get a text from none other than Simon Mina, my guide friend from Mount Kenya. The text says, Peter Naituli is up in Samburu for a wedding. He wants to know if you want to climb Mount Ololokwe, but you have to get there by tomorrow. I knew this was an opportunity that may not present itself ever again, and I had to seize it. So one time in 2022, I was hiking this mountain with Jackson, and we met a dude called Forrest, and we watched him rappel down the same route from this cave, and then he climbed back up solo, and it was epic. And I said to myself, one day I'm going to come back and climb this. So I had to quickly organize myself and leave the following morning. Naituli only had basic gear with him, so I had to make a pit stop in Narumoru to grab a second rope from Simon, and we were all kitted up. So we met just outside of Nanyuki at a farm of a friend of his, and my first impression of Naituli was, holy shit, this guy's triceps are insane. Like, I've never seen a dude so authentically jacked. You could just tell he was jacked not from like weights, but just from cliffs and nature. So we immediately hit it off, and I knew that I had found a rare kindred spirit. We quickly realized that our whole life philosophy was basically on the same wavelength, like our love for calisthenics and our endless pursuit of goals and milestones, and our constant desire to get in deep in nature. So we drove up to Samburu, and we had to pick up this local Samburu guide called Simon, different Simon. Naituli directed me along some dirt roads while they were a bit off the highway. It was like turn left, turn right in the dark, and I have no idea how he knew the way. And then he said, stop here, and he got out and walked off somewhere, and he was gone for a few minutes, and there were just these couple of little kids, and we just hanging out for a few minutes in the dark, and I was like practicing my Swahili phrases. And then Naituli reappears with the guide, and we were off to this little-known bush camp at the base of Mount Ololokwe. Not the well-known Sabache camp, but another one that's run by the locals. And it was quickly evident that we were in the domain of elephants, judging by the many droppings and mashed up trees, as well as the distant crashing noises. African scops owls serenaded us to sleep. At 5:30 a.m., we woke ourselves up and we got ourselves organized with our gear. We went with a pretty minimalist set of cams and a few nuts. We had the bushwhack from hell up to the base of the cliff, and I think it took like almost 3 hours. Along the way, a lot of branches were slapping me in the face. Naituli was busy with the machete, and at one point a twig slapped me in the eyeball, and I thought I had a serious scratch, but luckily it went away.
We are deep in the African bush. My helmet fell off my bag. So we sent Simon back, and luckily he was back within 25 minutes with the helmet. And now we sent him back to guard the campsite. The bush is very thick now. We have to plow through the machete.
Tumefunga barabara. More elephant. Good one.
Yeah, they've been doing some landscaping.
They don't like cats.
You think they do that on purpose?
Yeah,
They're quite smart. Because I've seen it. Mount Elgin, they knocked one clear over the road like it was on purpose.
It's all in above road.
So we're about halfway down the scramble. And the bushwhacking's getting a little bit more real. It's been about 35 minutes only, so lots more left to go. It's extremely hot and sweaty. I'm just soaked in sweat. And we haven't even really gotten the real stuff started yet. But we are moving at a quick pace, so I better catch up. So we're 1 hour into the walk, roughly. And we can see the place we're gonna climb. It's getting extremely hot, getting covered in these like seeds that stick to your feet and clothing. Hitchhikers. Pretty annoying getting shredded by thorns. All part of the good fun. So we'll take a look, zoom in at where we're gonna climb up. Left of that little hump where there's a bunch of trees.
And by nearly 10, we were at the base of the cliff. Naituli gave me a little briefing, and I will admit that he was not impressed. I guess my knowledge was a little rusty, and I needed a few reminders and pointers more than he expected. What is the golden rule of belaying? He asked. Never let go of the dead rope? Well, at least you know that. Satisfied with my readiness, he disappeared up the cliff.
First pitch of the day.
I have to be honest, when it was my turn to climb, I was shaking a little bit during the first pitch, just because of the scale of this cliff. It was huge. And just how flat the rock was, like there weren't many holes, and you had to use the friction of your shoes, and there were like some tiny little edges that were like crimps kind of, and a lot of spots where you had to just put your toe on the rock and hope it doesn't slip. So by the second pitch, the shaking totally went away, and I had a nice rhythm going, and I really felt calm, and I remember feeling this feeling like being really happy and at peace.
We were in epic rage mode.
And we were moving like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Very efficient team. So some of the pitches, to give an idea, were pretty long. Like one was 45 meters and one was 50 meters long. And the runoffs, whew, I can't remember exactly, but maybe like 10 meters between cams. And there weren't very many cracks, so we ended up not using any of the nuts, unless you count the ones between our own legs. And there were times when Naituli just disappeared, and I could barely hear him. Sometimes I could barely make out him screaming, "Climb when ready!" And once or twice I couldn't even hear him, like at all. And I waited for him to tug the rope 2 times. And that's how I knew it was time to climb. So by halfway up the cliff, I realized, like, man, if we keep going at this sweet speed, this thing's going to be over before I even realize. So we're in smooth cruising mode, and I was super excited. We were just really stoked. And we sat on this little ledge that both of us could barely fit on and enjoyed the view for a second and just enjoy the epicness of this. And I knew I might never do this again, so I really focused on being present in the moment and taking it in. I could actually understand why this mountain is sacred to the Samburu, because I could feel a deep sense of reverence for this epic mountain. And it wasn't so much like I was conquering the mountain, but more like just finding harmony with it. So Naituli is a very competent guide and has actually done this route as a free solo. And of course, I would never do that. And as being the leader, he took all the risks. So I can't really brag too much about this climb, but I did feel pretty good about myself when we got to the top. So we got to this little cave. And a couple birds actually distracted me, or tried to. There were stone partridges flying by, a striped-breasted seed eater, and a cliff chat. But I was pretty locked in, so I had like a 3-second view and then cracked on.
One of the tricky ones, the last tricky one. He's pretty tricky, actually. Oh God. Okay, pistol squat. Not a lot of furniture here. Take. Inviting. Oh yeah, that's nice. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll take that. Shucks. Can we see the end?
Not really, but you can see the cave kind of. The opening of the cave.
It's like there. Okay. So smooth sailing from here, basically. Yep.
Easy pitch.
Don't get cocky, basically.
Yeah, but move quick.
Okay, cool.
Try to sprint up it.
Okay, great, great.
What do you have on the other side? Actually, what I need more is like a sling.
Sure, sure.
Like a
Just
long sling.
turn myself around. Nice cliff chat and a striped-breasted sea. The birds are becoming increasingly difficult to ignore the higher I get. Feels dodgy.
The guide-client relationship on a mountaineering trip is quite a bit more important than on your average hike or safari. It demands a serious amount of responsibility by both people because there could be deadly consequences. And I think I measured up on the day. And I took a moment to thank Naituli. We made it to the cave, one pitch left. It's the easiest one of the day. We get to climb up these amazing tree roots like a pole dancer, I guess. And yeah, finish it off. It's a pretty solid rip. Yeah, thank you, Peter, for that.
No worries.
And I really appreciate you putting your confidence in me, and I don't take that lightly.
You didn't disappoint.
And the last little bit you have to climb is this huge long tree root that you didn't need a rope for. And I guess that counts as pitch number 7. But we weren't done yet. Getting back down was a whole other ordeal, and that's a whole other story I won't include. The logical celly for a climb like this was to head to the nearest Nyamachoma spot. So we went to Archer's Post and we absolutely demolished a couple of kilos of meat and ugali before crashing at the local hotel. And the next morning it was already over and we said goodbye. So it was kind of a bittersweet moment because it's very rare that you meet somebody that so closely shares your life philosophy, especially our need for quests that emanates from the depths of our souls. This is a dude who will, in the middle of the hike, spot a cool ledge and just bust out a few one-arm pull-ups just for the fun of it. So you can easily see why we got along. But I had a feeling like I wouldn't see Naituli for a long time after this day, or maybe ever again, because the guy is pretty busy. But the memory of this epic climb will sit in my soul like an ember waiting to be rekindled.